Hello my beautiful crafty friends, I am Katia with Lunar Sun Creations and welcome to my very first Try It Tuesday. I am going to be once or twice a month doing a Try It Tuesday where I take crafting products or a technique that I have never tried before and I give it a shot and see what happens. So today we're going to be using PBO Prisme Fantasy Paints. They're supposed to create this like really cool honeycomb effect. I have not yet tried them. I just took them out of the box. I got the Discovery set, which has 12 20 milliliter bottles in it, so a variety of colors. They are oil-based paints that are meant to go on a very smooth surface. They need to stay horizontal and they work best with some kind of bezel or like something around them to contain them. So these are the colors that I got. You're supposed to stir them really well because they're an oil base, so the pigment, the color actually kind of sinks to the bottom so it separates, but don't shake them because you'll create air bubbles. So just give them a good stir. I'm just using these little wooden stir sticks that I got at the dollar store. So yes, I've been watching some videos on this. Most people have been making jewelry. All the videos that I saw, people were making jewelry out of it. So I wanted to try something different. So I've taken this die cut. I believe I got it from AliExpress. I'm not sure. It was not very expensive. Anyway, I got it because what it does is it creates 3 different shapes. There's like the outline border, and then there's these inside bits, and then there's a border around these inside bits. That's why I chose this one. But I mean, any die that has kind of a border and then like fairly open shapes would work great. And I mean, I'm saying this, but I haven't actually done it yet, so I don't even know if this is going to work great. This is all in theory, folks, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut this die out of just a regular cardstock 4 times and then layered it. So there's 4 layers of this outline. So my hope is that this all the paint kind of stays in here. So the actual die cut is out of regular cardstock, but then I've glued it onto Yupo paper because most of the people that I saw doing stuff, it was always on glass or a wood panel or clay or ceramic, something that had kind of like a non-porous texture. So I thought Yupo paper might work. And then I took the outlines from around and did the same thing, just layered it up numerous times. So I'm going to try putting some of the paint inside these grooves and see if it works. All right, I think I'm gonna create a rainbow for this one. So I'm gonna start with our English red here. All right, now these do have, I opened a couple of them just to stir them and was just curious about them, and they do have a little bit of a chemically smell. Not horrible, but it does have a little bit of a smell, so you might want to have a window cracked open. So I'm just going to give that a stir. I'm going to be using these little pipettes to put it on, so I'll bring you in a little closer. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. There's a little bit of effects happening, but apparently the more it dries, the more effects kind of start happening. So we'll let this dry until tomorrow. They take about a full day to dry. So we have to make sure it's flat, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, so it's been about 12 hours. I left this overnight. However, I didn't think about the fact that as it dries, it contracts the paint. So everything started curving, which means that these two here are the only ones that didn't run off my page. What I should have done is put some adhesive on the back and stuck it down while it was drying, because you can see a little bit of honeycombing here and here, but everywhere else just kind of like moved and kind of ran off, and everything started to lift up. I'm not deterred, because that just means that now I know what I have to do. So even though this didn't turn out how I wanted it to, and there's only a tiny bit of the honeycomb effect, it's still worth making into a card. I've used that same die that I used and cut it out of a metallic cardstock, and I've already peeled off just the outline. Even though it's messy now, once you put this outline on it, if you can get it straight, which is kind of key. Okay, I got it pretty good. It's not super perfect, but it's pretty darn close to being on target. But look at the difference that makes. Doesn't it make just like the world of difference? It looks so much cleaner and better now. So it'll still make a really nice card, even though it didn't turn out exactly as I wanted it to. So my plan for this panel is to use some thin foam tape in some kind of geometric type pattern, and see how that goes. So I'll do a border around the edge. Okay, so there is my random pattern. So before I go any further, I am going to put some double-sided adhesive on this so that I can easily take off the backing to stick it down when I need to. And hopefully this will do the trick. Okay, so now I'm going to get my pipettes and everything, and just do the same thing I did before and just kind of dropper it in to different places. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to, as carefully as I can, take the backing off of these strips of tape here. Okay. Oh, mucked it up a little bit, but that's all right. And I'm going to adhere this down. You can already see some of the cells forming, the honeycomb forming. So I'm hoping that pressing it down like this will make all the difference. It's still not dry, but can you see all of the honeycomb effect happening in every single area? Oh, it's so pretty. I'm so excited about this one. So it's just all about making sure that it stays flat while it's drying, because the honeycomb effect happens over the course of a fairly lengthy period of time while it's drying. So I'm going to finish letting this one dry, and then I'm going to do a similar effect as this, except that I think I'm going to do foil on this one. So I'll remove all the tape backing from the foam tape here, and then do some foiling on there. Okay, so it's been about 12 hours. It's still a tiny bit tacky, but I think I'm okay to put the foil on now. But look at the honeycomb effects. I hope you can see how cool that is. So now I'm going to take off the top layer of all of these pieces of foam tape. And then I'm going to use some deco foil and foil over top of them, and hopefully it turns out really, really well. Brayer it over. I'm gonna smooth it with my fingers. Okay, hopefully that is enough. Let's see. Okay, well, it's certainly not perfect, but it's pretty darn cool. I might possibly add some gems to this to just cover up some of the blank spaces. But it's a pretty cool card, and I'm quite happy with the way it worked. The only place that we got some gold that I didn't want it is in this area right there, but that's pretty much it. So I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to quickly turn that into a card, and I'll show you what I've done there. Okay, so here are the two finished cards. So this is the first one. I ended up actually liking this one better, even though it didn't do the honeycomb thing. I just put a simple sentiment strip, like a chipboard one from Tim Holtz. The world needs who you are made to be. I love that with the rainbow. And then this one here, I just added some white hearts to kind of hide a bit of the foiling that didn't quite take. The foiling was my undoing. I'm not quite sure what else I would have done with the foam tape, so the Prisme paints worked fantastically, but I probably wouldn't foil it again because for some reason the foiling just didn't quite take completely. But I still really like it, and I mean, these Try It Tuesdays are going to be all about learning for me. So I mean, there will be mistakes that will be made, but that's the process of learning, right? Unless you're Yoda, in that case it's do or do not. There is no try. That was the absolute worst impression ever. Please forgive me. Please no hate mail. I really love Yoda. Anyway, so those are the cards, and I did learn something, so that's the whole point of doing this, is to try and figure things out and see if there's ways to use them in other ways. I am still going to make some jewelry with the Prisme paints at another time. I just wanted to play and kind of see what they were about first. Alright, so I hope you liked our first Try It Tuesday, and I will be back with more of these and just more videos in general. Alright, sending you huge hugs. Love you all. Bye!